Hey everyone, this is Helena, and I'm here with my husband Tom today.
Hi, everyone.
I recently posted a video on what to do if the man you're interested in is really busy or doesn't have a lot of time to prioritize a relationship. And in that video, I mentioned that I actually married an incredibly busy man, but that it didn't affect our relationship all that much because he was also highly interested and motivated to move things forward. And after publishing that video, I got so many requests to bring Tom on to get a man's perspective on this. So I'll let you start. What's the first thing you have to say on this topic?
Well, I think for me, actually, being busy rather than being an excuse for not prioritizing our relationship was actually a motivation to prioritize it because I think with the right person, being busy tends to make you focus on things that are important and have meaning in your life and not want to waste time on things that don't seem like they're going anywhere or that are not very fruitful. So when we first started dating and we were getting to know each other better, and I started to realize that we had a strong friendship developing and that we were compatible, and it seemed like there was a future. Those were three of the first things that I started to recognize that caused me to want to continue to devote energy to our relationship as it was developing.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think with men who say they're busy, they fall into these certain categories. This is what I explained in the previous video on what to do if you feel attached to a busy man. I think some men just say they're busy because they don't want to hurt your feelings. They're not all that interested, but they might not want to have a straightforward conversation or have to be honest about that. And so they just kind of say, I'm really busy and I'll let you know when I get some free time. And then the relationship just kind of fizzles. The second category of men I shared in that video was what you fell into, a man who is actually busy, but who's also highly interested. And so he's not going to have a problem pursuing you and prioritizing a potential relationship with you. And I think it's a very, very small percentage of men who fit into that category, men who say they're busy when they're dating. I also shared this third category of men who may or may not be busy, but they're only somewhat interested. They're interested enough to maybe see you every once in a while, but they're not the type of guy that's going to put both feet in and really make you a top priority in his life, along with whatever his other top priorities are. And I know for women, it can be so easy to hang on to what a man says and ignore his action. So for a man like this, a lot of them say that they're looking for a relationship. And so it can be easy to just hold on to those words and assume that if he's contacting you or in contact with you, and he also says he's looking for a relationship on his online dating profile or something like that, you just kind of wait around for him endlessly and just hold out hope that maybe someday things will change if you can just kind of show him everything you have to offer. And we don't want women getting stuck in a situation like that, right?
Right. And I think with you, you did genuinely show me, though, that you were interested and that you were putting forth energy into the relationship and you were straightforward and not playing games. And so I recognized that. And that was one of the things that when we were in the early stages of our relationship, helped me to want to prioritize it because I felt like it was reciprocal. And I think another thing was I started to get the sense that through some of the conversations that we had when we were first dating, that you were not going to wait around, that our relationship was a priority to you, but that I specifically was not a priority over the quality of our relationship, that you were not attached to me specifically. I mean, early on in a relationship, I think both people should be evaluating the relationship for the relationship, and I had the sense that that was the case with you, that that you were not going to wait around if I wasn't kind of on the same page with you.
That's so interesting. I've actually never heard you say that before, so I'm so glad you brought that up. Because it's not like I had to sit down and have some kind of conversation where I told you that I wasn't going to wait around or that I was going to walk away if you weren't ready to commit or something like that, right?
Right. It was through other conversations that we had about what we were looking for and what we saw for our relationship if it were to continue, and I think it doesn't necessarily have to be specific, an ultimatum or something specific that indicates that you were going to move on. But I just had that sense that you were putting forth that energy and prioritizing that, and so I felt compelled to, put forth the same, and really see whether there was something, there, and it's, as it seemed like there was.
Yeah, I love that so much. So I think, so here's what I'm hearing you say, and like, let me know if you have anything else to add here. So it was being open and receptive and curious, and, being warm and available. When you were available, I said yes, and I showed up, right? I wasn't chasing him or trying to like sew this thing all together because he was more busy than I was, right? I allowed him to pursue me and show me, what he was capable of and what he was willing, what kind of effort he was willing to put forth. I responded and reciprocated that, right? I showed interest as well. And I was straightforward, didn't play games, I think I heard you say, right?
Right.
That coupled with this sense you got that I would be willing to walk away, or I wasn't just kind of going to wait around forever if you were the kind of person who was maybe breadcrumbing me or back and forth or inconsistent. You were not that way at all. You were very consistent, always super reliable and dependable, which is really important to look for in a potential partner, right? For both men and women. But you somehow got the sense that I wasn't just kind of gonna casually date forever, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that was important in the early stages of our relationship, because before we ever got to that point where we were so invested in each other, we were invested in the development of our relationship, and that, could be segregated in our minds, I think, from an attachment to one another. And I think while that's still the case in the early stages of a relationship, it's important that you do have some of those conversations fairly early about what it is that you're looking for and where you see things headed, and that helps to frame it, because over the course of time it gets more and more difficult to be able to separate those things.
Yeah, you get attached to someone, and then that's when you start maybe accepting crumbs or tolerating things that you wouldn't normally tolerate, right? I think maybe that's a topic for a whole nother video. Would you guys like a video on how to talk to a man about what you're looking for ultimately? We met online, and as most of you know by now, in Tom's "What are you looking for?" section, it said that he wasn't sure. So it's not like, I said I was looking for a relationship. He said he was looking for a relationship. Okay, let's do this. We were just getting to know each other over time, and we found out pretty quickly that we were, very compatible and the right person for each other, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let us know down below in the comment section, would you like another video on, how to have some of those conversations about what you're looking for? And I love that what I heard you say too was, something I say all the time actually, is put your desire for a great relationship with someone who is available and consistent ahead or above your desire to just be with this one specific man, and you'll kind of take him however you can get him. You don't want to kind of slip into that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think another thing to note with regard to being busy too is that, I think a lot of people tend to find that they don't have that unique of a circumstance when they're with somebody who has a lot of excuses for why they can't prioritize a relationship. And the same goes with a man who claims to be busy. There are only so many likely excuses that a man would use if in fact he is just simply making excuses and is really not busy, because he's probably going to be using excuses that come across as plausible. They're the typical life circumstances that I think most men would think that a woman would accept as being a reasonable excuse. And so it may be actually very, very difficult to discern whether or not a man is or is not truly busy or has the ability to prioritize a relationship. But in the early stages of a relationship, it really still doesn't matter that much. It comes down to how does that feel to you, and how would it feel if you had to wait a year or 2 years or something to find that out? You really shouldn't be waiting to figure that out. If you're unable to discern, it still ultimately matters really only how how that feels to you.
It's so important. Yeah, that's why I always say get in touch with how you want to feel, and then, as objectively as you can, try to discern, is this in alignment with what you truly want and deserve for yourself? I know I did a live stream earlier today with a male relationship expert who said no man is too busy to make time for a woman he truly loves or he's truly interested in. I've just found that to be so true. I think men who make those kinds of excuses, like work's really crazy right now, and then next week I have my kids, and after that I have a family event, and there's just always seems to be something preventing them from putting both feet in and moving things forward. When a guy like that is ready to really partner with someone, they tend to go with someone else, because if he was truly for you, he would be putting effort and energy into the relationship from the beginning. Do you agree with that?
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that as well, it may be that he really legitimately has some life circumstances that are consuming so much energy and time that he's unable to commit to a relationship. But even if that's the case, I wouldn't think that most people would prefer to be in a relationship with somebody who's unable to commit to it, whether or not there are legitimate reasons why that's the case. So, again, it still comes back to the basic idea of how that feels to you.
Yeah, the fact remains that he is, this is how he's orienting his life. And a guy is showing you with his actions what his priorities are. So you want to really pay attention to that. This was great. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your perspective on this. I really like that. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section, or if you'd like some more videos from us, give us some topic suggestions. We always love hearing from you. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you again very soon.